There's lots of hospitals, even that I visited, where I would never, unfortunately, give birth. But then on the other hand, I learned, and I go through it every week. I noticed that you can totally give birth in Ghana.
So who should we avoid?
Who should we avoid?
Like which hospitals?
Okay.
In your opinion, what is the best thing for a woman to do when she's giving birth in Ghana? Should she go to a hospital or should she be giving birth at home?
I think she should. Not all hospitals have a generator, for example.
Yes.
Or water 24 hours.
That is so true. You have a beautiful little girl. How was your birthing experience?
So I decided with Babette to have a home water birth.
You are all here on African soil, and you do not have to be. You could be comfortably in Canada and just, living the day to day. Do you ever think about going back?
There are 7 chakras in the body. So going from the root chakra all the way to the crown chakra.
And I want to go back to our roots, go back to what birth is really about.
Today, I am talking to 3 dynamic people with 3 different experiences living here in Ghana. And I'm really excited today because I'm going to touch on different topics that I think you will also find very interesting, especially the first person that we're going to talk to here. She is a woman making a difference as a doula in Ghana, and it's something that's definitely needed. Some of you may know that I worked with the Maternal Health Channel television series as the host and reporter traveling around Ghana, covering stories about women and why they were dying and challenges they were facing with childbirth in Ghana. And we also have Babette, one of her clients, Aziza, who's going to be sharing her experience with us today. And then Babette's husband, Dan, is also doing work here in Ghana as a DJ, among other things. We're going to hear from him as well. So thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Ivy Prosper. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. Let's get into it. I am so glad that the 3 of you were able to come today to have this conversation. Babette, I salute you because the work you're doing in Ghana is definitely making an impact. Aziza, thank you for coming to share your story. And Dan, thank you also coming to share your experiences today too. So I'm going to get each of you to introduce yourselves and talk about your experience, what you did before you came to Ghana, because all of you moved here from Canada.
Yes. Yeah.
Where I used to live too. So Babette, I'll hear from you first, why you and Dan, the 2 of you can share why you decided to move to Ghana.
We decided to move to Ghana in 2021 after the pandemic. It was something that we wanted to do after 5 years of being married. So when I met him, that was in Canada, I knew that I wasn't going to stay there forever. And we had a 5-year plan. We just didn't know where we would end up. So during the pandemic, we noticed how things were getting real and how we would have to make a decision right then. And that was really when we were 5 years married, basically. So we chose to come to Ghana basically because we have friends living here. We did a lot of research. And Ghana seemed to be a country that was very welcoming towards people from the diaspora.
Living in Canada, were you born and raised in Canada?
So I am Congolese. Both of my parents are from Congo. I'm born in Congo. I left when I was 2 years old. My dad works in the Marines, so he went to study in Belgium. So I grew up there. He didn't like it so much, so he left, and I ended up staying with my mom for 30 years. And then I decided to, spread my wings and to visit different continents. And I just felt that I had to go to Canada. I had some family members there. And I did on my own. I had never been there. And a couple months after landing there, I actually met my future husband.
Months? So quick.
Yes, I mean, we were friends for a long time, but then...
A little bit more than a couple months.
How long was it? In December?
November?
November, yes.
November, and we met, I think, maybe in April or, April. So
exactly.
A little bit more, maybe 6 months.
Okay.
Yes.
You were in which part of Canada?
In Montreal.
And so your background?
My background, I'm born and raised in Montreal. My parents are from the Caribbean, from Barbados. And so I'm a Canadian 100%, but I identify as an African, Caribbean, Canadian. Africa first, because that's where my original ancestry is from. Then Caribbean, because that's where my parents and my grandparents, and then Canadian, because that's where I was born.
And Aziza, you also lived in Canada. What made you decide to move to Ghana?
Yeah, so I was born in Canada. I wanted to move to Ghana because I had one friend here and I seen how things are going for her. It looks interesting. I always loved traveling. I always wanted to either be in Jamaica or Ghana, and I'm Jamaican, so it was a tough choice, but I said, I go to Jamaica all the time. Let's try out Ghana. And my family jumped on board with me. My mom, my sister, my brother, everybody jumped on board with me, and we literally sold our house and moved here.
So all of your family came, you sold the house, and you're all here in Ghana.
Yeah, first time visiting, we moved one time and we stayed here. It's been
You
about a
didn't
year.
even make a visit first. You just packed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what made you think of Ghana, first of all? Because you said you're Jamaican, so why not gravitate to Jamaica?
I know, and I get that question a lot. I feel like the continent has been calling me, and I wouldn't throw away a whole continent for an island. Like, I love Jamaica. That's where grandparents, great grandparents, everybody's from, in my family. So it was just a yearning for Africa, and it's been an interesting experience here, and we love it. But we just had to come here first and check it out.
Okay. And it's been how long so far?
A little over a year.
And it's still going well.
Yes.
So, Babette, with your work as a doula, for people who may be watching and they don't know what a doula is, because people hear about midwives, nurses, what is a doula?
A doula is a trained person who supports expecting families during their pregnancy, the birth, and the postpartum period. So you have different types of doulas. Some of them are trained for pregnancy alone or birth or postpartum. I am a full spectrum doula, which means that I am there from the moment the person is pregnant up until the baby's born and drinking milk, basically. So what we do is we empower the couple. We teach them what to expect during this journey. We support them during the birth, and we make sure that the birth plan that we create with them is respected by the medical staff. So what I also do is I give prenatal classes. So I teach them basically how to take back their power, the power of birth, by teaching them the risks and the advantages of certain procedures. So they can basically make a choice that is not fear-based. Because, the way midwives speak is different from the way doctors speak to patients, for example. So I also lean more towards the holistic side of things. So I will do home births, I will do water births, I will do lotus births if that's what the client chooses. The lotus birth is where you don't cut off the umbilical cord, for example. So this is something that a lot of people
cut the umbilical cord?
You don't cut
So
it.
what happens?
You just wait until it falls off. So this is one of the things that people might have never that people not always know about, and why we do things, how to take care of the baby with the placenta still attached,
Right.
how to maneuver, stuff like that. So I actually had one client who gave birth like that here in Ghana, and the doctors had never seen it, but I was able to teach them as well, like, why do people choose for it?
Right.
And what do you do? Like, how do you take care of it? How do you make sure that the navel is not infected, for example?
Yeah.
So there's so many things that people don't know about birth, especially when it's your first pregnancy or baby that you're having here. So I also accompany a lot of local people, but a lot of people from the diaspora who don't know which hospital to go to, which midwives to speak to, what the laws are here in Ghana as well. So I had to learn those things first, and now I'm actually able to share this with other people.
That's good. So with the doctors, because you said the doctors didn't even know, some of them didn't know about this lotus birth. So did you teach them? Like, did they come, you told them you were going to have a lotus birth and then some came to observe? Is that how you showed them?
Yes. So basically, we had made a birth plan with that person and her husband, and the doctors were a little skeptical because they had never heard of it. But then eventually, she gave birth. Everything was fine. And as I was teaching the father, because the mother was still recovering, the doctors came in. There were 3 doctors that day. So they all came in. They had a little bit of time. It was quiet. And I was showing them how to take care of the placenta, which herbs to use, what to do, what not to do. And they were really open to it. Like, it's not for everyone, but they were open to it. They were fantastic. In the end, when I left, like, one of them gave me a hug because she was just so happy that, she had that experience for the first time in her career. So it was good. We had 2 lotus births ourselves, both of our
Both of
children.
your children?
Yes, they were born that way.
Okay.
Yes, and even this was in Canada. Like,
Yeah, it was similar in terms of people not knowing
yes,
about
yes.
it and it not being common. So
The amount of doctors and nurses that walked in our room just to see what it looked like, it was something.
yeah.
So, in coming to Ghana and having to learn everything so that you can do the best you can while you're here, what are some of the things that you think are misconceptions about giving birth in an African country? Because the show I worked on, we covered and highlighted some of the challenges, with people being in rural communities, even in Accra, where women were dying after childbirth because of complications from preeclampsia. People have bad roads and they're having to travel these long distances. So, there's blood loss along the way, blood banks are low. How do you navigate through a system that has these kinds of challenges to give people a good experience?
What you're talking about is definitely real. There's lots of hospitals, even that I visited, where I would never, unfortunately, give birth. Not because, bad doctors or nurses, the equipment is
facilities,
just,
yeah.
exactly, the facilities are not there. But then on the other hand, I learned, and I go through it every week. I noticed that you can totally give birth in Ghana safely if you know where to go to, what to avoid, which people also to avoid. And it's also about being empowered, right? To have that information, the necessary information before you go through a procedure. So this is basically what I do. This is what I teach people, whether it's the locals or the expats that live here now.
So who should we avoid?
Who should we avoid?
Like, which hospitals?
Okay,
Do you
I'm
wanna
not going to
name?
give names, but I would tell you, I have a list of questions
Okay.
that I give every woman I work with. So, for example, when Aziza was expecting, we went to a hospital. I gave her the list of questions. And depending on what it is that the couple wants, you can choose the hospital that goes with it, or the midwife or the doula. So she wanted to have natural births. So one of the questions that I always ask is, how high is your C-section rate? So if a doctor tells you it's 90%, then you already know that chances are that when you go there, they will more so push towards a C-section and not necessarily give you the time to try to have a natural birth. What about VBACs, vaginal birth after C-sections? Are they open to it, yes or no? So sometimes it's kind of like shopping. Like, we go to multiple places and until we find the perfect hospital, the perfect midwife, the perfect setting for that person.
In your opinion, what is the best thing for a woman to do when she's giving birth in Ghana? Should she go to a hospital or should she be giving birth at home?
I think she should choose the right midwife or doctor first. So she should find someone who's supportive towards her needs and wishes, her and her partners. That's the first thing. Because you can have a great hospital and then there's just one doctor who disagrees with all your wishes. It doesn't mean the hospital is bad. It's just that the connection isn't working well. So that's the first step that I advise women to do.
Okay. Aziza, how did you connect with her to get her to be your doula? Because you were new in Ghana yourself, and then now you're giving birth and trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, so I connected with her through a mutual friend. We met, first it was like a phone conversation, I think, and we connected. I loved her vibe. Her voice is so soothing and calming. I was like, yes, so this is my doula. And yeah, we just went from there. We had our hospital visits, and she was there to help me ask the necessary questions at the hospital. But yeah, it was definitely through a mutual friend. I was so glad for that.
Were there any questions that you can think of that you wouldn't have that she helped you out with?
Asking about the setup, like how the room would be set up if there's like blood, like you mentioned earlier, if there's access to water, running water and stuff like that in the rooms, and what we had to bring. Like there was mine during that, like it was my first pregnancy, so I was just like blank. I didn't know what to ask. I was, nervous. So she was, yeah. So those type of questions definitely was helpful.
Yeah, for people who don't know, like when you're giving birth in Ghana, you are expected to bring a lot of your own stuff to the hospital or clinic that you're giving birth at. And if you're coming from America or Canada, yeah, you're not used to that because you're used to you go to the hospital and they just have everything there for you and you just go and you get the support to give birth. But it's not the case here. So people have to be prepared. What are some of the things that people should bring?
They have to bring pretty much everything.
Yeah, the bed sheets, yeah. And the pad for afterwards because
Pads,
women have bleeding after the
yes,
birth. And
yes.
yeah.
But I was surprised that the hospital gave me like a little package. They gave me like a book, a prenatal book that I had to read through, and then a mosquito net for the bassinet. So that was nice.
And one of the things that she was also talking about that I discovered with her is that not all hospitals have a generator, for example,
Yes.
or water
Oh,
24 hours.
That is so true.
So those are also questions that I have on my list. Like, what happens if you run out of power?
Yeah.
Something
scary.
else like, can you have, let's say you need a C-section, can you have an epidural 7 days a week? Is there always someone on call or not? When is your team leaving? Like, what's the schedule here at the hospital? Because, when you're from Canada, you just expect
Everything to be there.
everything to be there,
Yeah.
everyone and everything to be there
Yeah.
all the time. It's just a little different here. And when you ask those questions, you better prepare.
It's true. When you mentioned generator, the show that I worked on, we went to a hospital that the doctor who was the head of the maternity department told us a story about how the light went out at 2:00 in the morning when someone was, he actually had already cut her open to do a C-section, and then the light went out and the generator didn't come on. It's 2 a.m. So it's pure darkness, and the woman eventually died because it was like, he said it took a long time for the nurse to find where her purse was to see if she can get the little flashlight that was in her purse to try to put the light on for everything to be done and completed. But he was like, the interim of time that she was bleeding out and with it being pitch dark, he was like, something so simple as light. You have a beautiful little girl. How was your birthing experience?
Yes, so I decided with Bavette to have a home water birth. So she brought her pool over at my apartment, and it was scary. I was nervous, but we did it, and it was amazing. I had a midwife from the hospital also that came and assisted. Yeah, it was good. I think everything went smoothly. It wasn't exactly how I pictured, but I think it was a learning experience for a lot of us, the midwife and me. You were amazing. But it was a learning experience for everyone because I think it was her first water birth. The midwife, yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's a lot. So I imagine there's a lot who aren't experienced with that.
Yes, from what I was told is that they learn about it in school, but they've never experienced it. And the beautiful thing is that we went to the hospital. She wanted to have a water birth. Unfortunately, her doctor was not open to it.
Yeah.
So that's when she decided to have a home birth. and we found a midwife that was willing to be a part of it. Yes, exactly. She had never seen a water birth. She's been a midwife for 13 years. And so she came, like she said, it was a learning experience for all of us. But I think definitely that midwife made a change because she went back to the hospital where at that time, water births were not allowed.
Not allowed. Did they think it wasn't safe?
Well, they didn't have a pool, one,
Okay.
and then they just didn't have that experience. You know, like I said, theory is a little bit different, right? So she came, she experienced her birth, she went back to work. She told her coworkers about it, and next thing you know is water births are allowed now, you know, like they, exactly, like they, I had a next client a couple months after her who actually had a water birth in that same hospital. So
Do you want to name the hospital?
it's UGMC in Accra. Yes.
In case anybody wants to know, that's why I wanted you
yes,
to,
yes, yes.
if they wanted to do a water birth as well. Wow. Dan, how does it feel being like I'm sure you're surrounded by all these stories of women and, you know, their plight when it comes to childbirth. You know, how do you feel knowing that your wife is making an impact in Ghana with this? Like, how does it feel?
Well, I'm super happy in terms of from the first experience that she had here with the first birth that she did. And when she came home and she told me the story, I'm like, definitely we're in the right place and your presence is needed here, because just the things that she can bring to the table and how to educate people and how to help people manage a lot of the different things that are going to happen is absolutely necessary. And there's a missing link between the patient and doctor relationship, or even patient and midwife relationship, and the doulas fill that gap. So I was just super happy to see that she can live her passion and live her calling here in Ghana, and that is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, you are all here on African soil, and you do not have to be. You could be comfortably in Canada and just, you know, living the day to day. Do you ever think about going back?
I do. I'll say
Oh, you're honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do. There's you know, like we mentioned, like running water, like sometimes, you know, in our area the light goes off, and it's like certain things like that. You're trying to work, and you know, this doesn't happen often in Canada, in Toronto. So stuff like that. And then, like, you know, sometimes you're yearning for some different type of cuisine. Like, I'm a foodie, so, you know, and then you're just thinking like, okay, but not to live. Honestly, I'm happy to live here in Ghana. I want to explore the country more and the continent, but you know, it crosses my mind once in a while.
I think it crosses a lot of people's minds. So what is it that you're doing here? I know you do some DJing here in Ghana. What else have you been doing? Or you want to talk about the DJing, and then also what else you're doing? Yeah.
About the DJing a little bit. So yes, I've been doing DJing here in Ghana. I'm a DJ. I've done some radio hosting in the past. I'm also an audio engineer. So since I've been here, mostly I've been focusing on DJing. Recently, I decided to to broaden my income spectrum. So I started a online T-shirt business, which I'm in the process of launching, and I'm actually wearing one.
I was going to ask if that's one of your shirts.
Yeah, one of my shirts today.
What does it say? I am powerful.
I am powerful. Yes. So it's a T-shirt line. The concept is around the spirituality. So there's 7 shirts, and each shirt is related to the different chakras in the body, and then there's a color associated with each one. And this one is I am powerful, which is related to the sacral chakra and also the crown chakra, and then you have a symbol that also is related to the chakra as well. So yeah.
Please explain those chakras you just mentioned for people who are watching and may not know.
So when it comes to one of the spiritual concepts is that there are 7 chakras in the body. So going from the root chakra all the way to the crown chakra. So you have the root chakra is the first one, which is red. Then you have the sacral chakra, which is orange. Then you have the solar. Sorry, I made a mistake before. I meant the solar plexus chakra for the shirt, which is yellow. Then you have the heart chakra, which is green. You have the throat chakra, which is blue. you have the third eye chakra, which is indigo, and the crown chakra, which is violet. So each of these represent different energies that circulate within the body. So I decided to make a t-shirt line revolving around these chakras. So you have a shirt for each color with an affirmation which grounds each of the chakras. And you also have a symbol with each shirt, which is again related to the energy of each chakra.
And what made you decide that you wanted to do this?
Honestly, I was sitting home a few years ago, and I was looking for something to wear, and I was like, you know what? I want to wear a shirt that empowers me on a particular day. And then I started. We had a book at home on Raseki, which is a healing art.
Comedic Reiki.
Exactly. And in the book, it listed suggested colors that you should wear each day. So each day I was flipping through the book, and I was trying to figure out, okay, which color should I wear? What should I be wearing? I'm like, well, why don't I make clothing around this? So then I started to do some research and look into different things, and I'm like, well, there's 7 days a week. There's 7 colors in the color spectrum. Why don't I make a line of shirts that covers this and kind of puts it all together? One, to simplify, your choices. Sometimes when you want to choose clothes, you're not sure. Okay, should I wear this? Should I wear this? But if you look at, okay, today's Sunday, for example, I can wear my crown chakra shirt, or I can wear my solar plexus shirt. So you choose the one that goes, and it also just helps to empower you as you go through your day.
Have you found that, I mean, I don't know if you're selling them already. Have you found people have really connected with it? Are they resonating with it?
Right now it's brand new.
Okay.
This shirt
This is an official launch.
This is an official, I'd say it's the official soft launch.
Soft launch.
Yes. This shirt that I'm wearing right here is actually one of the prototypes that I got recently. And I'm just waiting for another friend of mine, because I'm partnered with a friend of mine who's in Canada as well, to get his prototype, and then we're gonna really push it out there. But when we had the okay, we're just like, you know what, we're gonna start talking about it now, bit by bit. So yeah.
So does that mean that if somebody's favorite color is a certain color, that means that they have that chakra mostly within them, or?
Oftentimes, if somebody's color is if you're attracted to a certain color, it will mean one of two things. Either you need that color more because that chakra may be closed, or that chakra is wide open, and that's why you're drawn to that color.
I wanted to know, because yellow is my favorite color.
Beautiful.
So I wanted to know. I was like curious. That's very interesting. And you've been here. You're here with your children.
Yes.
In Ghana. How have your children adjusted? I know they're very young, so it's easy for kids to adjust. But have you noticed any things that they really are enjoying about being in Ghana, or maybe they don't like?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely things. I mean, the first thing that we noticed coming here, that our children just started to flourish. Like their maturity level kind of amplified and just started to go much quicker. When we got here, our youngest Kimani, he was not walking yet, and within 2 weeks of us being here, he started walking. Yeah. So and then our oldest Malachi, we just noticed like his maturity level just like instantly increased. So yeah, they definitely like it here. They do miss home, especially our oldest, because he has a lot of memories,
Friends, I'm sure,
friends
too.
and family, and he misses the snow, which yes. But overall, they seem to enjoy their.
Yeah. When you're that age, I know I used to enjoy being in the snow when I was that age, just making like snow angels, those kinds of things, and snowballs, and tobogganing. Yeah, but as I got older and I really started to feel the cold, chilling, it's like, man, you stand outside and it's like negative 25.
Oh no!
Or you watch the news and they're like, don't go outside for more than 15 minutes today because your skin will freeze. I don't miss that.
It is like Ghana. Yeah, Ghana's nice.
Yeah. But that's great. But so if somebody wants to connect with you about those shirts, I'm circling back. How would they?
So my website is live right now. So it's www.siriusapparel.com, and Sirius is spelled Serius. And that's the same as my DJ name is DJ Sirius as well. So for the shirt line, Sirius Apparel on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything, we're on there. There's not much content on there yet as we're still launching. And if you want to reach me personally too, if it's about the t-shirts or DJing, at DJ Sirius on all of the social media platforms.
So with the work as an audio engineer,
Yes.
you do production work like film, commercial, like what type of
A lot of radio commercial production work. I've done some voiceover work as well. I haven't been focusing on that much since I've been here, but I'm always open to working on projects like that.
Great. You know, I'm really, really happy to hear that someone like you is here to help support women in their journey of childbirth, because it's so important. Women are the ones helping to produce the next generation. I mean, men are part of it, we know that. But, the whole process of the bonding with the child and giving birth and making sure your health is 100% is really, really important. So I'm really happy that you're doing what you do. You're really making a difference. What do you foresee for yourself over the next, 5-10 years while you're here?
Well, my dream has always been to become a midwife. I did study midwifery, but that was a long time ago in Belgium. So it's something that I want to go back to. And two, I want to open a birthing center. So whether it's in Ghana or it's in a different country, it doesn't matter. But I want to be part of those people who create a safe place to give birth for everyone. It doesn't matter, the age, the color, whatever, just a place where you are heard, you are safe. And I do feel that the way we come into this earth is important. The first person who touches you is important. My husband was just talking about energy. Like, we believe in it, but it's a real thing. So unfortunately, nowadays, everything is about medication, and even Ghana is following the West a lot when it comes to the medical care. And I want to go back to our roots, go back to what birth is really about, which is taking your power, listening to the mother, and respecting the family's wishes.
Very important. Very important. And if someone wants to connect with you, if they're in need of a doula here in Ghana, how would they connect with you?
So I have a website, it's uzuribirth.com, UZURI, and they can follow me or contact me on Instagram as well through @UzuriLife. And all my information is on my website anyway, my phone number and my services, the prices. So I'm very open. And if I'm not available, I'm also part of a doula collective. So if I'm not available, I can definitely put you in touch with someone who will be.
So there's more doulas around.
There's more doulas, but not enough.
Okay.
There's more doulas, definitely. And more are coming, and I'm really excited about that. So if anyone is a doula and they want to know about Ghana, I'm really the person I would love to share with you my experience, because I just wish there was someone who told me about certain things. Because I spent about 6 months trying to figure things out, how things work here. I also realized that a lot of doctors and midwives, they didn't know what doulas were. So if anybody's coming to Ghana and wants to work as a doula, I'll be happy to share even that list of questions that we were talking about. The more doulas, the better. The better for everyone.
Overall, you've had a positive experience. Are there any difficult things that you faced that really are sticking out for you that you were able to overcome or help out with?
Yes. I have worked in hospitals where the staff didn't know what a doula was. So, and I didn't know, they didn't know. So I arrive at the birth, for example, and they give me an apron and gloves, and they tell me, okay, you go to that room, this woman is about to give birth. And at that moment, I have to explain that this is not what a doula does. So it's not the right time, not the right moment at all. So then you're kind of stuck. I've also been to hospitals where the doctors or the midwives, they saw me as a threat, because the patient comes in with support from the outside. So it's almost as if they don't trust the Ghanaian system. They don't trust It's not about that. It's really not about that at all. So in the beginning, it was challenging, and it took me some time to understand that it's nothing personal. It's just that I needed to spend time explaining who I am, what my role is, why I'm with this person, way before we talk about the person's health. And so that's what I've been doing as well. So that's a tip I want to share with other doulas. Like, introduce yourself, make sure they know why you're there, what you do and what you don't do.
Okay, great. I want to know if he knows my energy right now. Do you read energy too?
I do to a certain degree. I do to a certain degree. I wouldn't say I can read your energy right now, but I mean, I've always been a person that's I can tell a lot by people's body language, and you know, both of us. I mean, we're very spiritual people, and you know, energy plays an important role, and it may not seem like a lot of things are related, but everything is energy. And you know, with the experience of us three, because when Aziza was pregnant, right before she gave birth, she was at an event that I was DJing at, and she came into the event, and she was dancing and partying, and then I say she came in and she was the life of the party. And I was super happy to see her because I threw on some songs. I'm just like, yeah, you know, it was really fun. And then later on that night, Babette got the call that she was in labor, and I was not surprised because the energy that she came in with, and then just the vibe of the whole night and everything. I'm like, she danced the baby out.
I was ready.
You know,
Yeah, I was ready.
she danced the baby out. You know, so and yeah, and you know that was her goal. So the thing is that when it comes to energy, a lot of things are related. And you know what my wife here, Babette, does as a doula, it's very important because that helps to solidify the child's energy. When the mother is more comfortable, when the family is more comfortable, when everything is set in a certain way, the energy of the child is going to be different as well. And then the bonding of the child and the mother, and the bonding of the child and the family, and all of this is going to be better. So we need to be looking at the world from an energetic place and understanding that every single thing that we do affects us. And you know, so in her case, when it comes to being a doula, it's important for the energy of the entire world. And you know, our sister here, Aziza, as well, you know, she's into the culinary arts. You know, the energy that you put into food, that is very important as well. And then, you know, bring back to myself in terms of music, that is important as well because it helps to set the mood. It helps to change the energy, and you know, so all of this is very important, and everything can be related when it comes to just improving our general health as humans.
Okay, I want to hear about what you're doing in Ghana because you had a baby, but you're actually doing something here as well.
Yes. So I am a vegan chef, vegan and gluten-free, and I'm also a health coach under the World Organization of Natural Medicine.
So do you have a restaurant? What do you...
I don't have a restaurant, but I do caterings, I do vendings, I do private events, and actually I'm a supplier now of a few restaurants. I sell burgers to the restaurants and different sauces. So
And they're all vegan?
Yes, all vegan and gluten-free.
That's great that you've got some connections with some of the restaurants.
Yes, yeah.
And how are people responding to your food?
I think they love it. I've been in a few events that you guys have been at, and yeah, it's been a line out, so I'm excited to keep pushing it.
And how can people try your food? Like, where would I go to try some of your food?
So you can contact me, anybody looking, at Life Abound on Instagram. That's pretty much it for now. Yeah, Instagram. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for everything that all three of you are doing here in Ghana. I know we got to wrap up our time, and I appreciate you coming out, carving out time on a Sunday afternoon to come down and talk. I think that, you know, these are some of the diaspora stories that I think are so important for people to know, because we see all of the excitement and fanfare that's happening with different things, but there's a lot of people doing some like really meaningful things on the ground. And I think all three of you are doing your own part vegan food, the music, and now with the t-shirt line that's getting people set with empowerment, and then with you with women and making sure that they're in safe spaces when they're giving birth. So I think that all of you are doing some really great things. Thank you.
And you as well.
Yes. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your kind words and
Yeah.
your time. And it's really a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching. You can get in touch with all three of them. All of the information will be on the screen for you to get in touch. If you want a DJ, if you want good vegan food, or if you need a doula when you're giving birth, or you just want some information on how you can become a doula if you want to come to Ghana. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ivy Prosper, and I'll see you again.